Marc Márquez walks into every season like gravity with a helmet on. He doesn't join championships, he bends them. He doesn't compete, he consumes. He won 2025 with 5 rounds left. He won it while bleeding. He won it after rebuilding a shoulder that should have ended a career, not crowned a 9th world title. Every engineer, every rider, every journalist quietly accepts one truth. Marc is the benchmark, the tyrant, the inevitable storm. But Marco Bezzecchi refuses to kneel. Aprilia gave him a throne. He turned it into a blade. 3 wins in the final stretch, back-to-back Grand Prix victories, 9 podiums in 14 races, form rider of the grid. And then he committed MotoGP's biggest sin. He said out loud that Marc Márquez is not invincible, not unbeatable, not untouchable, not immortal. This isn't confidence, it's war logic. Bezzecchi knows you cannot beat Marc by fearing him. You beat him by breaking his rhythm. You beat him by refusing to let his mythology override your belief. 2026 becomes the fight between belief and inevitability. And the world holds one question like a loaded gun. What happens when Marc returns fully fit and Bezzecchi refuses to back down? The wolf who refused to bow. The paddock smells like gasoline, sweat, and hidden fear. Every mechanic pretends they don't glance at the timing screen when Marc Márquez rides out. Every rider pretends that his number has no weight. Every team pretends the sport isn't built around his shadow. Bezzecchi? He pretends nothing. Where others see Marc as the final boss, Bezzecchi sees a man who bleeds, a man who breaks, a man who can be beaten. That's the heresy that electrified the 2025 paddock. The belief that Aprilia finally found a rider who didn't stare at Marc's data and lose oxygen. Because the truth is brutal. Most riders lose to Marc before the visor drops. They lose in the hospitality truck. They lose during the track walk. They lose when they replay his highlights in their heads. They lose before the race even exists. Bezzecchi is built differently. He is rhythm, not aggression. Elastic, not explosive. Wild, not chaotic. Where Marc forces the bike into violence, Bezzecchi molds the bike into poetry. And yet they collided, literally at Mandalika. 2 trajectories crossing at the worst possible angle. Shoulder damage for Marc, a dream ending stolen from Bez. Everyone moved on. Bezzecchi didn't. He finished the year as the form rider. He finished as Aprilia's ace. He finished as the only man in the paddock who said without blinking, "Why should I turn up if I don't think I can beat Marc?" That wasn't arrogance. That was survival instinct. Because this is the law of MotoGP. If you walk into the grid believing 2nd place is acceptable, you finish 8th. The Wolfpack saw their opening. A rider who didn't fear the tyrant. A rider who didn't worship his myth. A rider who would rather crash than submit. Aprilia hasn't seen this type of psychological weapon since never. And so the 2026 season loads its gun with one question. Is Bezzecchi's courage evolution or self-destruction? Comment below. The political tension heading into 2026 is nuclear. Aprilia walks silently, waiting. Ducati walks loudly, flexing. KTM walks angrily, boiling. Yamaha walks hopelessly, praying. Honda walks quietly, pretending. But all roads lead to the same pair of names, Marc Márquez versus Marco Bezzecchi. Not because the world wants another rivalry, because the grid needs one. Marc's dominance in 2025 cracked the psychological ceiling of the sport. He made champions feel mortal. He made rising stars feel premature. He made factories feel pointless. Ducati worships him. Aprilia fears him but pretends not to. KTM wants to dethrone him but can't keep tire life stable. Yamaha watches him the way Lost Kingdoms watch invading empires. But Bezzecchi? He looks at Marc with no gods in his eyes. That's the threat. Because MotoGP is not about speed. Everyone is fast. It is not about talent. Everyone is elite. It is not about engineering. Everyone has genius. MotoGP is about who breaks the rhythm first. Marc's rhythm is the most dangerous in motorsport. Once he locks into a pattern, braking late, flicking the bike, front tire dancing, the race is finished. His rhythm suffocates opponents. His rhythm forces mistakes. His rhythm consumes the track. Only 2 riders in history broke that rhythm. Lorenzo in 2015, Martin in 2024. Both needed either the best bike in the world or the best version of Yamaha ever built. Bezzecchi has neither. He has Aprilia, a strong bike, a sharpened weapon, but not a Ducati. And yet he says he believes. Aprilia engineers whisper that Bezzecchi has a psychological trait almost extinct in MotoGP: deliberate self-delusion. The kind champions need. Because logic never beats Marc. Only madness does. But the dread begins swirling by mid-season when the statistics carve their warning. Marc fit equals unstoppable over 25 laps. Bezzecchi fast equals unstoppable over unstable weekends. Marc plus Ducati equals perfection in qualifying. Bezzecchi plus Aprilia equals perfection in rhythm. Marc armed with the GP26. Bezzecchi armed with the RSGP, version sharpened but not dominator. The war is loaded with imbalance, but wars rarely care about fairness. The paddock lives in a haunted question. Is Bezzecchi building a revolution or building the most beautiful defeat since Pedrosa? Comment below. The moment truth demands blood. This is where the documentary shifts from poetry to autopsy, because collapse is coming, either for Marc's enemies or for Marc himself. There is no middle ground. Let's dissect the battlefield mechanisms. 1. Ducati's GP26 is built for Marc's violence: sharper edge, lower drag, more stable rear shock progression, corner entry aggression engineered into the chassis, an aero package that rewards savagery, not finesse. This is a bike designed for Márquez physics, not human physics. Bezzecchi hates this. Aprilia's RSGP is built for rhythm, not brutality. Perfect when dancing, terrifying when forcing. A bike that rewards elasticity, not demolition. Marc destroys elasticity. He attacks it until it folds. Pressure fractures riders before tracks do. This is where Pecco shows the cracks. Ducati doesn't believe in him anymore. He feels it. He knows it. Every mistake is amplified. Every loss to Marc is another wound that will never clot. Pedro Acosta, meanwhile, is chained to KTM's tire fade curse. He enters mid-race like a lion and exits like a domestic cat on medium compounds. Quartararo is in Yamaha jail. No horsepower, no exit grip, no future until 2027. Martin is returning from one of the worst injury cycles since the Pedrosa years. He enters 2026 limping, not launching. So who is left to stand with Bezzecchi against the Emperor? No one. Aprilia knows it. Bezzecchi knows it. Marc definitely knows it. And when the light goes green, the truth becomes unavoidable. Marc's rhythm suffocates the grid. Bezzecchi's rhythm tries to destabilize it. This is not racing. This is tempo warfare. And the moment one of them blinks, collapses begin. Is MotoGP watching the fall of Marc's enemies or the fall of Marc himself? Comment below. Here is the cold, clinical conclusion. Marc Márquez is still the final boss of MotoGP. He is the benchmark, the nightmare, the rhythm tyrant, the psychological sun around which the grid orbits, whether they admit it or not. But Bezzecchi is the first rider in years who doesn't look at Marc and see a planet. He sees a target. That is why 2026 is a war, not a championship. A war of ideologies. Marc's inevitability versus Bezzecchi's belief. Aprilia will bring a refined RSGP. Ducati will bring a sharpened GP26. But machines won't decide this. Belief will. And Bezzecchi has the single most dangerous belief in motorsport, the belief that a dynasty can bleed. Marc, however, carries something even deadlier, the knowledge that a dynasty only ends when its owner lets go. He hasn't. He won't. He's entering 2026 fully recovered, fully angry, fully loaded. Bezzecchi will throw rhythm chaos at him. Marc will throw violence back. Aprilia will whisper strategy. Ducati will weaponize data. Acosta will stalk from behind. Quartararo will wait for 2027. Pecco will fight for survival, not glory. But the verdict is simple. MotoGP 2026 is not a fight to beat Marc. It is a fight to survive Marc. And Bezzecchi is the only rider stupid enough, brave enough, wild enough to try. From now, where does this put them? The time will tell us. Comment below. Subscribe for more savage breakdowns.